Jester. There's a phrase, almost coincidentally, the Jester and comedic wrestlers, but the Jester, there's a phrase that Mick Foley coined in his first book that went something like putting the fear of Harley into somebody. Harley was so tough and respected, he merely had to verbally put his point across. Mick gives the example of a ringside physician who Harley convinced to put down an injury happening in the ring rather than outside of it, so Mick Foley could get WCW to pay for his medical bills. So the fear of Harley.
Oh, yeah. Well, Harley had a punch that was legendary. He would knock people out left and right when he was a heel. I mean, there was two guys in the wrestling business that had tremendous punches. One was Harley, and the other was Dick Murdoch. Dick Murdoch, I saw him go to the ring one night in West Palm Beach, Florida. And by the time he got back, it was a run-in. He just did a run-in. There was three guys laying in the aisle. He had knocked three guys out. I think he knocked one out on the way in and then two out on the way out. So, but Hardy was tough, really, really tough. And he grew up tough. And because the way Harley talked, even if you were on the street and you didn't know Harley was a wrestler or anything else, you just met him, the way he talked would put the fear of God in you, because he never talked loud. He never screamed. He talked in a monotone, but he meant every word he said. So if somebody talked to me like that and I know they're red hot mad, that would unnerve me. You know, I'm not scared of nothing. I'm Mr. Fearless. But that would back me off. Because a lot of people, I'd rather for them to be screaming and hollering, carrying around than composed. Because he was always composed and he was tough. And nobody ever tried him in the ring. And he had respect too. Even Andre respected him. All the Japan offices respected him, and all the promoters respected him. Harley Race was a guy with a lot of respect, not only with the wrestlers, but with the membership of the NWA and the people running the business.
I'm glad you mentioned Japan as well, because the old story is when Ric Flair or whoever would go defend their belt in Japan, and you never know if you're going to get double-crossed and they take the belt off you, that kind of thing. The solution was, just send Harley with him. And it was absolutely fine every single time. I mean, how can you be just that scary? You know what I mean? Your presence enough is to stop any shenanigans from going on, and that's how it was.
Well, they would put him against some of those really strong shooters too, and they left him alone. So when you got that amount of respect preceding you, of course, it had to be gained somewhere. They knew what Harley could do, and they knew you couldn't mess around with him, because you'd end up, because not only he could knock you out, but they knew that anything they tried, if Harley didn't like it, there's going to be some kind of a disagreement or a fight. And I didn't think they were sure they could win the fight.
Was it you who wrestled Harley? Did you wrestle him for the NWA Championship? Was this in Florida when you were Booker? Or am I completely because you said you wrestled for the NWA Championship, but only in Florida when you were Booker, because there was no one else at the time.
I think I wrestled him. No, I wrestled Flair in Florida.
Right.
I think I wrestled him in Memphis one Monday night on a combined show between Vern Gagne, Memphis, maybe a little bit of the Texas talent, because they were banding together to try to get enough
Pro Wrestling
strength.
USA. Yes, I've seen the match.
They were trying to get enough talent together, I guess, to offshoot WWF. Hell, he beat me in like 2 minutes. And I was saying, guys, I don't mind doing it, but this is one of our main towns. Why didn't you get somebody else? Well, y'all have a good match. I says, 2 minutes. And I argued the point, except that didn't make him change anything. So I went out and did it. But I always liked Hardy. I always got along with him.